Hi everyone, welcome to Wheels on the Bike. Whenever I tell someone that I'm going on a solo self-supported bicycle tour, a question that is asked inevitably is, aren't you afraid to ride around your bicycle by yourself? Aren't you scared? And the short of it is no. But that doesn't mean that I don't have measures and strategies in place to make myself feel as secure, as safe as possible. And in this video, I would like to share those with you. To provide a little bit of context, I've only ever bicycle toured within the province of Ontario in Canada. However, I have traveled solo internationally, and I feel like that experience has prepared me well for solo bicycle travel. So what do I do to help keep myself as safe and prepared for a solo tour as possible? Well, first things first, I plan my route. I typically plan my routes with Ride with GPS. In preparation for my route, I have an opportunity to explore the area, the surroundings, learn a little bit more about the places that I'm going to be visiting. Additionally, I leverage advice that others have shared through their own blogs or through Facebook groups. In planning my route, I also identify accommodation options available to me. And thus far, because my tours have been pretty short, I've typically been able to book provincial and private campgrounds and other accommodation options. Once I finalize my route, I then share it with my family. And if I've divided my route into 5 or 7 or however many different sections, then I share all those sections with my family. And that is my trip itinerary. I do that because I want people to know what I've planned for and to have just a data point if anything were to happen. What I typically do before I start my ride is I message my family to let them know that I'm leaving, and that allows them to track me while I'm on the road. And they're able to do that because I share a tracking link with them. I've tried 2 live tracking options, one of them being using Google Maps to share live tracking data with my family. That wasn't ideal because 1, there was a huge battery drain on my phone. 2, the sharing information was really deeply impacted by access to cell towers. If I momentarily lost access to the network, that communication got interrupted. So Google Maps personally did not work out very well. The second way I've shared live tracking with my family is through my Wahoo bike computer. So I use this to follow my route, but I also can connect it to my phone through the Wahoo app, and this allows me to then share a live tracking link with my family. I found this option to be a lot more reliable. Having said that, I once received a message from my brother asking me what I was doing in Africa, because apparently when the phone disconnected from the network, Wahoo sent me straight over to Northwestern Africa and Indonesia. So that was an exciting trip for me. So again, I think using live tracking when relying on cell phone network connectivity is not ideal. And that is why for this season, I purchased the Garmin InReach Mini 2. I've never used this type of satellite tracking device, but I'm going to be doing a lot more out of network and out of range travel this year, and so I thought that that would be a lot more reliable way of sharing my location with my family. Whenever I go touring, I typically ride on main and side roads. Sometimes they're gravel roads. Because my bike is more of a traditional touring bike, it's not a bikepacking bike, I end up riding along car traffic. And so it's important for me to be as visible as possible. And because of that, I often wear a high visibility vest, and I have lights. I have a light on my helmet that is in flashing mode, and I also have lights on my bicycle. Okay, but what do I do when I have to stop and, let's say, get groceries or grab a coffee or whatnot? So that really depends on where I am. If I'm just passing through a very small town and there aren't too many people around, I feel safe enough. Maybe that's a bit of complacency, but I typically feel safe enough in leaving the bike as is. But what I do is I shift my gears into the hardest gears. So I have bar and shifters on my touring bike, and I just literally adjust the gears so that if anyone were to jump on the bike and try to ride away with it, the gears would start skipping and they would then be in the hardest gear on the bike. Now, if there are more people milling around, then I will lock the bike to itself. I will lock the wheel to the frame. If somebody were to steal the bike, they would need to carry the bike. And if you ever try to carry carry a fully loaded bike, it's not as easy as it seems. Whenever I find myself in a busy urban area with lots of people milling around, then I feel safer to just take off all the panniers from the bike, put them in the shopping cart, and lock the bike up, and then take my panniers with me as I go shopping. This is not ideal, it takes a little bit of time, but it gives me that peace of mind that when I come back to the bike, hopefully the bike will be there, and definitely nobody will have stolen anything from the panniers or stolen the panniers themselves. When I arrive to the campground, I once again let my family know that I finished cycling for the day, and hopefully let them know that I have arrived at my accommodation destination. Now, typically in my experience, provincial parks and private campgrounds have had okay connectivity, and I've been able to send that message at the end of the day to my family. But again, when I'm not able to connect to a network, and when I'm using this Garmin InReach Mini 2, I will be able to send a message via satellite to my family that I've arrived or that I've finished for the day and that everything is okay. When I get to a campground, I typically lock my bike overnight. This may be paranoia from living in an urban environment, but the one time I didn't lock my bike, somebody attempted to steal my bike. So I will continue locking my bike overnight whenever I'm at a campground, or even when I'm wild camping potentially. What I do is I lock the bike to a park bench, or if there is some sort of a wooded area in and around my camp spot, I then roll the bike into that area and keep it out of sight and lock it to a tree. In my experience, solo travel has been great. It is always a rewarding experience. I feel like whenever I travel alone, I am a lot more open to meeting new people, having conversations with strangers, whereas when I've traveled in a group, we tend to just stick to the group and not explore outside as much as I do when I travel solo. So this is something that I will absolutely continue doing. But this doesn't mean that when I first started, I didn't have those feelings of apprehension or potential questions about whether or not I'm doing the right thing by traveling solo. So hopefully I will provide you with some insights and some ideas as to what you can implement when you're going on your solo bicycle tour. If you're watching this video and if you already do solo bicycle touring, please let us know what other safety and security precautions or measures you have in place to make yourself feel as safe and secure as possible. As per usual, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate your time. Comment, like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. I appreciate your time, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!